Well, hello everyone. I am feeling just about human today, so that's a good thing. But I had originally planned on this video being about disinformation, and before I could get all my research done, I noticed where Marfugel came out and made the report about today's activities and the disinformation associated with that. But I am going to save that for last. He's already done that report, but it kind of goes with what I had started, the information I started to give to you. So I'm going to start with that. Back in March, I called in to Marfugel and reported that there was a gentleman that had been stopped on the Interstate 68, I believe, in the eastern panhandle of West Virginia, and he was stopped because he was going 130 miles an hour. And when the state trooper approached his car, he was acting oddly and admitted that, or reported that, he was on his way to Washington. He was speeding because he was late for dinner with the president. Then he mentioned that he had a death plan. I don't know how to word these things. And that he did have explosives on him. Well, we have a very confidential source that is most reliable on the state level, and our state representatives were briefed about this incident. Now, the truth about that incident is that the gentleman did have two dirty explosives in his vehicle in the back seat, and that there were additional pieces to make an additional dirty, you know what, in the trunk of his car. It was amazing to me that our West Virginia state troopers did not have drug dogs. They had to contact West Virginia University, which is about an hour away from the location, about 30 miles from the West Virginia-Maryland border. And I read about 4 different articles that I could find now, and it gave 4 different exact locations. So I'm not going to go into all that. That's not the important part of my video. But anyway, we were extremely concerned about this report because he had the dirty explosives, B word, in his back seat of his car with additional parts to make an additional dirty, you know what. But there were no detonation devices. And he reported that he had lost his phone. He didn't have his phone on him. They found no phone. They found no detonation devices. This gentleman had come from Kansas City, Missouri. And they confirmed that with his drive time. He said he had driven 12 straight hours, and they Googled it, supposedly, according to one of the articles. Well, the day that happened, there was an article, and Shauna had sent me the article, and I had found the article when we were discussing whether or not this should be put on Marfugel TV. And it, went into fairly accurate description of what had gone on with that situation. And they did say the drug dogs were brought, or the bomb dogs were brought in, and that the dogs had indicated there was a problem, which there was. That has been confirmed on the state level. Well, the original article that I had found that was fairly accurate about this incident, when I tried to pull up several articles on this, there's many of those articles, this is no longer available. And the articles that are now on the web states that he had been using, had smoked meth, that he had a pistol on him. Oh yeah, and it was reported that he had a handgun in the first initial report, loaded, but that was it. Now it is, there were no explosive devices in the vehicle, that he had a handgun with 300 rounds of ammunition. Now that is not the initial report. And of course, we know for a fact that that is not what happened. There was indeed They had ATF, Secret Service, FBI, every alphabet soup letter that you can name was on that interstate, with it being shut down for a 15-mile radius, and the eastbound lane of the interstate was rerouted 15 miles out of its way to get around that 15-mile closure of the interstate. The interstate was closed down for several hours. It was 4 to 6 hours, I believe. I think it was 6 hours is what we were actually told from our source. The times are less now. So my point is, who is in charge of the disinformation that's on the internet? Why would this story that, is so relevant, to what is going on in our nation have been semi-accurately reported as far as the news that was being given at the time, and then now it's scrubbed, and there are completely new articles on the internet about this situation, totally downplaying this situation. It was also reported to our state legislators that this gentleman had gotten his equipment and himself illegally across the border. Now he is in jail, supposedly only on charges of his high-speed driving and illegally having a weapon. And he's going to actually end up with, so the reports say, just some home confinement and probation. Well, that's a little odd. So that's probably disinformation. So I had just happened to think, to see, is there anything else on the web? What is the follow-up to the circumstances with that incident that took place here in my state? To find that it's scrubbed and it's cleaned up. Okay, now we've got this situation today with the Russian submarine blowing up. There are many, many articles on the web regarding this submarine, and it is a deep sea submarine that they are just, checking out to see what's at the bottom of the ocean. Now, I found only one article, and I wanted to read this so I don't get it wrong for you. I'll be glad when I can just pull articles up. I don't know how to do that yet, but hopefully I'll get that tech. Okay, it said and this is from U.S. News, and it says the ministry didn't name the vessel that caught on fire, but Russian media reported it was Russia's most secretive submarine, a nuclear-powered vessel designed for sensitive missions at great ocean depths. And that great ocean depth, now watch that have been in another article, it could go nearly 6,000 feet anyway. So the speculation is, we all know, we've heard the reports that Putin wants to have his own internet and completely disengage Russia from the rest of the world. And this submarine was supposed to have been in the Arctic in their territorial waters, just checking out the bottom of the ocean. But what if that super secret nuclear submarine was actually to start cutting cables that are supposed to be at the bottom of the ocean? I need to do some research on that. Do they really have cables going across the bottom of the ocean? I don't know. But anyway, so, with the disinformation of, we have got, we know the immigration problem at the border and how it's being fought not to close that border off. We now know for a fact, a very, very reliable source that I don't even want to come close to even mentioning, showed one of my family members the briefing letter regarding that dirty bee that was being transported through West Virginia, admitted that that material came across the border. So we do have bad people coming across that border. Now, the web is scrubbed. It is not giving that information. Only a handgun and 300 rounds of ammunition is all he had on him. And all the extra pieces that were in the trunk, well, that was explosive materials, but it no longer says that it was additional parts that could make a third dirty bomb. Just say it. I'm still little. I don't know how I'll get used to all these code words. I can do it when I call him Marfugle, but I'm going to have to get used to it with me sitting in my living room. It's too hot and humid outside. We can't have a front porch chat. So anyway, now we've got this. They were just, Russia was just exploring the bottom of the ocean near the Arctic. Only one article, the U.S. News, could I find that said it was their most top secret undetectable submarine. They're not going to send, and it attaches to a bigger submarine. I found that in one article. So it kind of, rides on the belly for, a little while, and then it can go on its little way and holds, the fewer number of, not the couple of hundred that's typically on a submarine, the fewer men on the submarine. So it was in their territorial waters near the Arctic, just exploring the seabed. Putin is called back to the Kremlin with his defense minister at the same time. Now, I saw the news flash come up on my phone where they said Pence was on his way to New Hampshire and had to be called back to the White House. Now he never left the White House. So I know when they're giving the reports that they can tell the media, okay, you need to change this. We all know the media is controlled. The information that they want us to have is controlled. But who actually is in charge of scrubbing the internet? I want to dig a little deeper in that, because those articles on our situation in West Virginia with the guy, when I would pull up a couple of those articles I had jotted down, says no longer available, error, no longer available. So the new articles that are dated for the 28th of March, I think it was the date, the dates are right, but the articles are completely different. So I'm sure, these news medias can go in and change their articles or re-upload things, but the stuff that, is completely gone, it's changed. I found some, I told you I was wanting to do a video on vaccinations. Well, 3 years ago, I found a lot of information that is no longer there. And unfortunately, I didn't print it off. So, now I'm going on some, newer information that's not quite right. But I am getting that information together for you all. But, before, Adam even went live today, I was already working on this, to do an update, because I had called in on the show, but I hadn't done, a video myself on it. And we did have the reliable state government, information regarding that incident. But, this is ridiculous. I mean, we as a family that are growing, it is so relevant for us to keep on top of this news and try to get it out as soon as we can, because it's being changed. An article we find one minute, we may not be able to find the next, or the next day, or, a couple of months later now I'm finding. It is total disinformation, even from their initial reports, which was kind of accurate, which was surprising to me, because we had, an inside line giving us that information, and the articles really weren't that far off. The biggest thing they left out is there were no detonation devices. So, our state government was assuming that someone else already located in the Washington area had the detonation devices. This guy was just the mule carrying, the equipment in to do the dirty deed. So anyway, it's just food for thought. I want to know who's scrubbing this. Where are they getting their orders? Don't give this news. When did we become a government-controlled, news country. There is none of our news stations giving accurate news. And you watch local news, and, the biggest thing is the weather. But, of course, they're not accurately even reporting the weather. So, they're not blaming it on, the seeding that's going on in the sky. So, it's very important, this huge thing that Adam has done by getting this network of different people in different states to give out, the information that, we can vet and get the best intel that we can possibly get, because we're definitely not going to get any of it, elsewhere on the internet or on, the world news or local news. So, I was already working on that, and it was just odd, how that happened today. Here's more disinformation. But, I pulled up 10 articles on this submarine that, one even said it exploded. The rest of them, they're on fire. I mean, every article is different. And only one mentioned, that this is their most top secret, undetectable, weapon. Their submarine weapon, nuclear. And the rest of them aren't even mentioning that. So it's very, very important. We've got to grow these channels. We've got to get the word out. We've got to be sure and like. I have noticed that only about 50% of my viewers of my videos are actually, giving that thumbs up. And that's supposed to help with the algorithms. I don't know if it does yet with me being so small, but if we all just get in a habit, I typically hit that thumbs up before I even start watching the video or before I even start watching the live. So I'm in, the habit of hitting that thumbs up. So that's really important. So we'll get in the algorithm and be able to get this information out. So I appreciate you all so much. Just wanted to give you some food for thought, basically about our West Virginia incident. And then this other, stuff is coming out for today, which is just total disinformation. But, it's really, really important that we stick together and help grow our little channels. We have got, if we could get, a few people in every state that has a small channel, and we could get as much information from each state across, the United States, and be able to share it with one another, so at least we know the truth and can help share the truth, that would be amazing. And it's getting there. We're getting there. I think maybe 300 plus channels now have started because of, Marfugel TV, encouraging people to start channels. But this disinformation has to stop. I mean, we need the truth. How are we going to know what hits us? The rest of the world that's asleep is going to be blindsided. But hopefully, we can keep a network going that we can inform one another. So that was all my point was that I was working on today, because I actually felt like really, doing a video, and I fixed my hair, y'all. So that was, well, it's at least it's clean and flat ironed. But I am still working on the other, for the vaccination and the Ebola. I will get that out. I have ordered a tripod. I'm trying to wait till I get my tripod. It is supposed to be in tomorrow. So that'll be good. That will help me, especially with the canning videos. But I love you much. Appreciate everything that everybody is doing to help me grow. And, anything I can do to help anybody else grow, I will be more than glad. We all have to stick together. We are one big family. And always remember, if we share the love, the truth will come. And don't be scared. Just be prepared. I love you much. See you soon. Bye-bye.